in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm kind of worried about Caitlyn Clark. One of these days, she could get killed on that court. They're beating her up. And my sense is they're jealous that she's a great basketball player. And the other thing I feel is going on, there may just be a racial component, okay? I think the black girls are, quite frankly, jealous of Caitlyn Clark, all right? That's what I think is going on. I think it's a racial thing. And from choking her to punching her to tripping her. And, she's just sticking up for herself. She's going to wind up getting the penalty because she sticks up for herself. But that's the least of my concerns. I feel like something bad could happen to her, really bad, physically. And, she's a superstar. Everybody is going to those games, watching those games because of her, and the amazing three-pointers and everything like that. She's supernatural, for crying out loud. Super duper natural. And now this USA Today thing is really, really, really. Now, granted, I don't like to get that upset about what people say. People say stupid things all the time. They say dumb things, and I'm just not, you're allowed to in this country. But it was very, very offensive what they're getting at here. And let's see here. Is this the one that has everybody upset? Now, first, do me a favor. Anybody can see that she's being abused on that court. You saw that thing when she was choked, and some of these executives and the commissioner of the WNBA, oh, you just don't understand our sports. Well, I don't think you understand life. Okay? Don't tell me I need to go to basketball camp and watch 10 seasons of WNBA to have an opinion of this. I know when a girl's getting beaten up. All right, and I know that, and I suspect, I don't say I know, because it's very difficult to get into somebody's, head and heart and understand what they're exactly feeling. But I suspect, just have a nagging suspicion that there might have something to do with race here, okay? All right, so this has come up, Republicans on Capitol Hill. I like this and I don't like it, you know what I mean? It's like, don't you... But everybody weighs in on everything now. But I think this is enlightening, and that Abby Phillip, that she's getting more and more smug on CNN, acts like she knows everything, right? It's got this real Mother Hubbard thing going with her. Do me a favor, Carlos, go ahead and play that clip if you don't mind.
Should the WNBA be doing more to protect Indiana Fever star Caitlyn Clark? That's the concern from House Republicans who are demanding accountability for hard fouls that they call attacks against Clark. In a letter to the WNBA commissioner, they write, if discrimination or retaliation is occurring and creating a hostile work environment, we support any appropriate investigation by the Department of Justice, the Department of Labor, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They add that they are concerned about reports that suggest that the attacks may be racially motivated.
You think that's funny?
It's fascinating that Congress has decided to get involved in the WNBA's internal drama on the
somebody's life.
Fascinating. Or another word.
Another word. What do you think?
I think it's really, really disrespectful in so many different ways because this is from people who, one, haven't watched sports, obviously, have never watched women's basketball. They're probably more so a fan of Caitlyn Clark than the actual sport itself or a fan of the Indiana Fever. What has been happening to Caitlyn has been happening since the inception of the WNBA. These women play tough. They play hard. It's sports. To suggest that it is intentional or that people are being racist towards her leaves out a long history of women who've supported this league and started this league who were black. It's very disrespectful.
Stop. It's not disrespectful. All right? No, that's exactly what I thought they were going to say. They say, oh, you don't understand our culture. You don't understand. No, I've been watching. Men don't do this to each other. I haven't seen any men, they don't target LeBron and choke him. This is unique. This is shocking. Nobody knows sports, quite frankly, better than Ray Kelly, my father. And he can't believe how they're treating her and the reaction from the league. So this is the WNBA letter, right? This is something else. No, this is a USA Today column that has some people upset. It looks to me like a liberal wrote it, and she's really wants to get down with the woke left. And the woke left doesn't like Caitlyn Clark, okay? Even though Caitlyn Clark, I think, at heart is a woke left person. Caitlyn Clark was in Des Moines, Iowa, her hometown, on Thursday night instead of at WNBA All-Star Weekend. Turns out she was attending an event for the Caitlyn Clark Foundation. That explains why the Indiana Fever guard was getting her hair done instead of walking the WNBA orange carpet on Thursday, July 23rd in Chicago. Clark's hairdresser posted photos of her wavy new do. Clark left a comment saying, "So free, you the best." Yeah, there's a picture of her hair. Clark was voted in as starter and will captain Team Spoon, named after Hall of Famer Teresa Weatherspoon, who is GM alongside fellow Hall of Famer Cynthia Cooper in honor of the league's 30th anniversary. Clark pulled in 1.2 million votes, fan votes, the second most in the league for her third career All-Star selection. Okay, so far so good. She will star alongside Las Vegas Aces forward Asia Wilson. Blah, 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 blah. Clark, who declined an invitation to be part of the three-point contest on July 24th, will have practice with her team on Friday morning. Chicago is a quick flight or 5-hour drive from Des Moines. All right, what's the issue here? Okay, Clark's long-range permission. She was named Eastern. Okay, she's disrespecting the team. Is that it? She's, it's not like exactly she's like living it up. She's not exactly living it up in Des Moines. I'd rather be in Chicago than Des Moines. How about you, right? So this is kind of out there. It's a bit of a litmus test, you could say. Who's woke, who's right, who's MAGA, who's left. And I would like to... Have you guys ever heard of this Ryan Clark character? He gets fired mid-segment over there at ESPN. Talk about woke city. How did that place go so weird and woke? He's upset with Charlie Kirk. He's upset with Caitlyn Clark. He's upset with everything. And he's about to get his ass fired. Ryan Clark on ESPN.
First off, it's the second most ridiculous thing he said this week. The first was standing on campus and saying he wanted to put a statue up of somebody that doesn't represent the people of Louisiana, doesn't represent the players and the students at LSU, doesn't represent the executives that work there. That was the first dumb thing he said this week. This is the second dumbest, right? Amongst a lot of dumb things that he says. Scott Woodard, for whatever he is a man who got Jay Johnson, right? Last I checked, the 2025 Louisiana State University Tiger baseball team was in the White House getting the GAT recently, right? He was there in 2019 when it's one of the greatest college football teams of all time. He also was there when he said, you know what, we're gonna go out and get Kim Mulkey, right? She brings a championship to the school with Angel Reese and with Flau'jae Johnson. And so to me, this is another situation of politicians poking their nose into things that they don't know about. And I honestly believe it was so he can get in front of a microphone and say, look at this connection I have to the president, and he likes to pick winners so he could placate to somebody he idolizes. You don't know nothing about football. There's enough going on in the state of Louisiana that needs to be fixed for its constituents. Well, I don't need you tweeting on Saturday night about what's going on in Tiger Stadium. There is too many issues happening right there under your nose that ain't got nothing to do with sports. Scott Woodard is a good man. Scott Woodard is a man that cares about LSU. In the greatest times, back in the day, he understood what it was like to be a part of a winner, and he's brought more winners back to the school. He didn't miss because Brian Kelly wasn't capable. He missed because Brian Kelly was no longer willing. Brian Kelly was no longer tapped in. Brian Kelly didn't care if the people of Louisiana cared about him, and he didn't care if the players knew that he cared about them. That's where it went wrong. Not in picking a man who was the winningest all-time coach in Notre Dame history. And so for me, it's emotional, clearly, and it pisses me off, but Scott Woodard deserves to pick the next head coach, and the governor should stay out of it.
Hey, man, whatever. He's talking about Charlie Kirk. I have no problem with that. You don't have to love Charlie Kirk. Maybe he was giving the women a hard time or something like that, or the men a hard time. I'm talking about, office politics, that kind of thing. It wasn't anything he said. I didn't see anything there that was unreasonable. Carlos, did you? It's. I don't like people getting fired or getting penalized for what they say. All right, it's words. Actions. Caitlyn Clark getting punched. Caitlyn Clark getting a concussion. The girls who are tormenting her and traumatizing her, inspiring who knows how many millions of women and girls behind all across the country. Isn't that kind of gross when they say women and girls? They used to say boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I prefer that. It's somehow more respectful. It's more dignified. It's not weird. That's the way it's supposed to be. Speaking of weirdos, cut 3, please. Cut 3. College kids yelling and screaming about genocide. It's one thing if you're a crazy college kook, but the mayor of New York City is doing the same thing and telling people to protest. Cut 11.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. And I can also look at Benjamin Netanyahu and see the way that he has orchestrated this genocide and also deem him to similarly be a war criminal. And of course, my belief in a universality in international law is also the same set of beliefs that have led me to describe what's happening in Gaza as a genocide. I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it.
In AIPAC, for whom the only thing more frightening than democracy being allowed to run its course is an end to genocide and Netanyahu's wars.
Gosh, I remember Ed Koch. Ed Koch occasionally, would touch on national issues, occasionally. But he was too busy with the garbage. He was too busy with the daily news and the cops. The most, unmayoral thing he would do, he'd go to the movies. Remember that? He did movie reviews. He went to the movies. He'd rate the movies. And he also would talk about what was his favorite movie theater. Good God, I miss going to the movies. There ain't nothing to see anymore. I have no idea where the movie theaters are. My last great movie theater was Kips Bay on the 2nd Avenue there in the high 20s, low 30s. Going to the movies now is a bit more complicated. You pick your seat. Have you tried that? You buy, you got to go to your seat. You just don't wander in and look around anymore. But I haven't seen a movie since Top Gun Part 2, Maverick. Pretty good. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the H-bomb movie with that weird skinny guy. Speaking of H-bombs, no more H-bombs for Iran. That ain't happening. I don't like to get hung up on the messaging of the Trump White House, but all they got to do, one thing, they have no nuclear. We know that. And because of our actions, our military, they're going to get no nuclear. And that is a huge win. We have achieved our objectives. The rest are just details. Although one little thing's going to happen. Blaine Holt told us yesterday, the Iranian people are going to take their own country back. It's kind of that glorious revolution we've always wanted to happen. Sometimes we manufacture it in America. We tried in Chile in the early 70s. We tried in, where else have we tried? We tried in Iraq. That was a big bust. We tried in Vietnam. And the problem was we were doing too much of the trying. The people didn't want to try. Here, the people are on our side, and we're on theirs. Okay? We love the Iranian people. We can't stand their radical jihadist government. And there is a huge difference. Hey, quite frankly, once those radicals are gone, maybe we could talk nuclear again. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, a quick update on my friend Bill Stevenson, who is in the joint. All right, he's in jail. Suspicion of murder, charged with first-degree murder of his wife. I think the whole gosh damn case is a fake. All right, this is somehow a Biden operation to punish Bill for speaking the truth about Jill and Joe, how they met, and how Bill was the victim of lawfare for decades at the hands of Joe Biden. Now, he's still in jail. We can't get him bail. It's a complicated, weirdo situation there. He's getting screwed by the Delaware system, and the Delaware system is Joe Biden. Joe Biden and Delaware are one and the same. It's not a real state, in a way. Somebody told me it's like a corporation. It's like a nasty, corrupt, it's almost like the mob. All right? Not that I have any issue with the mob, but I mean, well, of course, kind of. Anyway, I don't want any trouble. But poor Bill Stevenson came out and said, you know what? When Joe says he met his wife, Jill, in 1975, that's not true, because they met through me at a fundraiser in 1972. I was married to Jill, and Bill was my friend. And he discussed how that happened, and this is what made me really kind of like Bill. He didn't say it in a nasty way, like, oh, Bill's a bad person. I mean, Jill's a bad person, and so is Joe, because they had an affair. He's a big boy. He knows things happen in life, Not all life is roses, and they were very young, very young. I think he was 22 and she was 19 when they got married. It was the divorce proceedings that really bothered him, and Joe's meddling. And it also really bothered Jill, and I know that because in her book, she's still writing about a damn bar that my friend Bill owned all the way back 50 years ago. She's still upset that she did not get a piece of that bar in the divorce. The woman's lived in the White House. The woman's been on Air Force One, and she still feels shafted that she didn't get a piece of that cash cow. And that's why I believe Bill was arrested in 1982 and again in the 1990s, and most recently in 2026. His wife is found, no suggestion of foul play, dead in the house. She wasn't stabbed. She wasn't drugged. The autopsy can't even figure out how she died. A month or so goes by and Bill is in prison. Suspicion of murder. I met Linda, his wife, and I met Bill. I talked to Bill many times. Linda was not well. I could tell you. Doctors do that. I'm not a doctor, but I could tell she wasn't well. So I don't have much more than that, other than I'm bringing in some help from the mainstream media. Sometimes you need the good old-fashioned New York Times.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
Stop. Anybody know that voice? Sound vaguely familiar? Actually, it doesn't sound familiar to me. But I happen to know it's Hillary Rodham Clinton testifying in the 1990s as First Lady of the United States. You may remember that she was involved in that healthcare task force. She co-chaired it. It was a disaster. It was very weird. Look at that. She could be MAGA. She could be MAGA. She absolutely could be MAGA. MAGA in a weird way isn't that political, I mean, we're just for the basic parameters that are enshrined in the Constitution, common sense. And you know who makes this case and actually points out the discrepancies and the contradictions between this moment and what we saw 10, 20 years ago with Democrats? Elon Musk. Elon, richest man in the world and one of the bravest men in the world as well. Sat down with the Economist magazine, and people love to read the Economist. I don't find it that good. I find the blurbs a little bit short. It's a woke British perspective. I don't know why people rave about the Economist, but this is the woman who runs it talking to Elon Musk. All right, we're going to hear a couple of chunks here. Oh, meanwhile, before the end of the show, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Let's hear it. Elon and the British woman.
You support not just the populist right, but the far right. In fact, very fringe parties in some countries.
No, I support the normal people.
Okay.
What do you call the far right? Falsely.
You think as the normal person. Okay.
Yes. Literally, you could go back 10 or 15 years, and these policies were completely normal. In fact, one of the tricks that I think is funny. One thing that's quite funny is to like take a speech from Obama and Hillary, and then go to someone and say, who's sort of on the sort of what I call the lunatic left, and say, what do you think of the speech by Trump? Like, oh wow, he's the worst person ever. Actually, that was a speech by Obama, or actually, that was a speech by Hillary.
I agree. No, I agree that the center of gravity in this country has shifted. Certainly, the Democratic Party shifted to the left. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like Rupert Lowe. I'm talking about people.
It's actually just normal people. It's just normal people. It's just normal people. And and here are the principles. And tell me which of these sound terrible. That we should have secure borders. That we should have safe cities. That we should have sensible spending. Which of those three are far right fringe? And I would like to just admonish you and the media for the absurd characterization of the far right. It is false and misleading and nonsense. Please keep this part in.
We'll keep all of this in, but let me
Don't cut this part.
Let me push back on that. Let me push back on that
because
you have
nonsense.
Elon, you have what is it? Close to 250 million followers on X.
Yeah,
you say things like,
popular guy.
Quote, civil war in Britain is inevitable. Just a question of when.
On the current trend, yes.
I mean, when were you last in the UK?
A few years ago.
Exactly. So I live there. I'm there the whole time. That is nonsense.
You live a cloistered existence.
No, I don't, actually. And the numbers also disprove what you say.
What numbers?
All the numbers about crime. London is a much safer city than any city in the United States. Violent crime in the UK is not where you think it is. In fact, it's coming down. You have painted, and because you have so many followers, so many Americans believe it, a kind of view that Europe and the UK are kind of, overrun with terrifying Muslim immigrants. There's rape on every corner. There's a sort of civilizational destruction.
I haven't said any of those things. If you have a large and rapidly growing group of people whose beliefs are antithetical to Western beliefs, at some point there will be a reckoning. They will try to implement their views, and those who oppose it will oppose it, and that's what you call civil war. And obviously, this is the trend. And you absolutely do live in a cloistered existence. And if you'd like, we can go on a tour of Britain.
Sure. I'd be very happy to come on a tour of Britain.
And you will see for yourself.
You come see my country that I live in all the time, and you haven't been to a few years ago.
I've been there literally 100 times.
But when was the last time?
Literally a few years ago.
You know why this exercises me? Because you have really shaped opinion about the UK. And so many Americans I come across and I have conversations with, and and I just had one the other day along the order of, oh, London's such a dangerous place. How can you know? There are sort of grooming gangs everywhere. There's violence everywhere. This is a picture that people get from things that you post or that are posted on X. And for example, you're posting for, what was it, 48 hours of Citizen Vigilante. That film, which, paints a dystopian. I've watched it.
Yes.
It was not fun. I watched it yesterday. It's not a very good movie.
It's awesome.
It also paints a dystopian picture of Europe, and it glorifies vigilante violence. It glorifies the murdering of a Muslim immigrant family. I honestly think that it is irresponsible for you to put that up on X.
I think that it's a movie, and it's worth watching.
People say that you're a racist. What is the motivation for doing that? Are you fomenting?
My partner is she's half Indian, and and I have 4 children with her. One of them was named after a famous Indian physicist. So I would say I'm not racist. And also, if you look at the people that are employed at my companies, we have senior executives of all races. I don't think there's any racism there.
Are you anti-Muslim?
I'm against having if people are coming to a country with antithetical views, I am against that. I'm against that. I'm against. I'm against rape and murder. I'm against the imposition of rules and laws that are contrary to what we've come to accept in the West. And I think it's a crying shame that the sort of traditional media, like you, don't recognize this.
Why should you be able to shape European politics? You don't even live there.
I think of it as the sort of the West collectively.
But do you see why this makes people think that this man who has all this power, he's the world's richest man, he thinks he has a right to influence our politics? It makes people, it's why, we started this conversation saying superlatives. It's why people loathe you. I mean, some people do loathe you.
Yes, some people do.
But do you understand why? Do you think what you're doing is helpful for Western democracy?
Maybe some people do loathe me. And that's probably true. I don't care. But the fact that, as you pointed out, 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like.
It's a really amazing discussion. Elon has come into his own. I think he's done a lot of interviews. He's gotten better at them. He was very awkward. I think that's one of the reasons. I'm like, I had thought about that. Why is he sitting down yet for another interview? And he wasn't always that, convincing. And he's a little bit different frequency. A lot of geniuses are. That was fascinating. And I don't think she understands her own country. And that's possible. And people do live cloistered experiences. There's somebody who lives in India who might know America better than certain Americans, and vice versa. That woman is a liberal, elite journalist, and she doesn't know the concerns, the lives, the realities of working class people. Most people. The Pakistani rape gangs is a real thing. They were marauding through that country, preying on young girls, and Britain didn't want to do anything about it because it made them uncomfortable, and they wouldn't be able to be, hoity-toity with the manners and everything like that. They're too genteel to confront something like that. And of course, nobody wanted to be considered Islamophobic, right? Which is one of the worst things in the world you can be accused of. Elon Musk, where would we be without you? Thank you. Makes such sense that they were great friends, President Trump. And by the way, the fallout was a fake fallout. All right. They still totally get each other and are in touch all the time. All right. It is Friday. We are about to say farewell to the week. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222, turning it over to the calls when I come back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we are back, and let's take a call or two. Lou, how are you?
Hey, Greg. Pleasure. How you doing?
Good.
Listening to you last night, that was pretty unbelievable, some of them pictures that I saw.
Thank you. Yeah, amazing, right?
Yeah, that pile I saw there of people, that's like having humans, like do that to other humans, It was like incredible to see that. But the reason why I was calling was about the SAVE Act. I don't know if you remember me. I told you the story about the little girl. My son was the security officer, and she was afraid of him that he might kill her.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Remember that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was me. That was like 3 years ago. And the thing, this security for voting, we got 4 or 5 people are going to hold, 80% of the country, tens of millions of people hostage over not having the voting rights, that's like, to me, that's plan A. If it doesn't work, I think I got like plan B, where every time I go to vote around the corner in the church, it's for 24, 48 hours. That place, I consider that a federal or government type facility with the government people in there for the voting, the equipment. I consider that a secure place. Now, you try to go into any federal building in the country, you have to present ID. So when you go to vote, you can't get in to vote unless you present ID to get into the federal facility. So,
well,
no,
you're saying, well, we don't have them in the federal facility now. You said that, right?
What? ID?
You don't vote. I know. You don't vote in federal facilities. Look, we love ID. The SAVE Act is so important, and there's no rational argument against it. Tom Tillis, they told me, you got to listen to Tom Tillis. I listened to him. He's just an angry guy who's upset that he wasn't involved in the crafting of it all. How are you otherwise?
I'm good. Everything is good here. My son is awesome. I'm hopping on a plane to Nashville tonight to go see my son in my grandson at Lake Kentucky. He's fishing in the Bassmaster Junior National Championship.
Oh, how about that? That used to be on TV, by the way. Bass, that's a good thing. All right, pal. Good luck with your the fish and your grandson, and have a great time. Thanks for calling. Let's see here. Tom in New Jersey. Hello. Is he there? Oh, shoot. Pump up the volume on this guy. Hello, are you there? Oh, well. Let's try Rich. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, Colonel. Thank you. I want to talk about the terror mayor and the fact that he knew from the very beginning that he did not have the authority to send the NYPD to arrest Prime Minister of Israel. He knew it the whole time, and he kept going and going and going until he couldn't. So I want to know why all the high-profile cops out there and the union aren't outraged that Mamdani is trying to use the greatest police department in the history of Western civilization to carry on his jihadist message.
All right, hold on a second. All right, don't get mad at the cops. I've seen a lot of cops, actually. We've had the unions in here. We've had the unions come in here and speak truth about Mamdani. Right? Now, they're also in a weird situation. As you know, this guy pulls the strings on the contract. I guess, you're right. I would like to hear more from them. All right? I would like to hear more from them. The PBA. We had that one man here, Avila from the SBA. He's great. I don't know. I think, we should be hearing. And you know what? The top cop, Tish, for her to be going along with this, what do you make of that? What do you make of that? So, what?
Yeah, you're cutting me off. What do I make of that?
Easy, pal. Easy there. Easy there. All right. What's your final word?
What's my final word? I want all the top cops that call in here every day, and this station listening audience, back the blue. We were the first ones to rally around the cops. They need to stop this because Mamdani's going to do it again.
What top cops are you talking about, by the way? What top cops? Name names.
Bo Dietl.
Wait. Bo Dietl. Wait. Bo Dietl. Bo Dietl's not a cop. You take top cops. Bo Dietl's an ex-cop. He's yelling and screaming about Mamdani all the time. You know that. Aren't you listening? I can hear that show when I'm at home with the radio off. He's yelling and screaming about stuff. All right, before you cut me off, I think you should listen up, all right? We're doing everything we can, pal. I'll see you around. Let's see here. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Mike in New Jersey.
Hi, Greg. You were talking of Lane Holt, one of the greatest minds in America. And I remember when you talked about Dr. Oz when he was running for Senate, said, you know what, this is a guy you could vote for because he does amazing things. He saves lives. He does all that stuff. Lane Holt, same thing. Then I look at people like Joe Biden and Obama, and I say, what did these guys ever do in their entire lives that would make them someone we should vote for as our chief executive?
Yeah, I love it when somebody brings a skill, a real world skill. You know, this is something I know how to do. And I learned a few things from becoming really, really good at this, becoming one of the best in the world. And here's something I can offer the country. We have had very few presidents like that. We've had basically George Washington, Eisenhower, and Trump. All right, in terms of world-class achievement and skill in their chosen field, and then they become president. Another line of work. And, you know, I mean, I love Reagan, but let's face it, he wasn't the greatest actor in the world. You know, nobody would, these guys self-appoint, like, I want to be president, because they want to be president. It's not about what they want to do. All right there, pal. You good? Carmine is next. Hello.
Hey, Greg, eBay is not too hard to learn. I would definitely take some of your ties, especially if they're Tom Ford.
I only have one Tom Ford tie, and I don't like it.
Yeah, okay, well, listen, I thought about you last night. You want to know? I was at Jones Beach Theater, and Chicago played. And in the middle of their set, I hear a song, and I'm like, I know this song. I know this song. And they played I'm a Man, your theme song. It was great, Greg. The sun was going down. The seagulls were flying. It was really fabulous show.
All right, that's beautiful. Never saw that place. Never been to that theater, Jones Beach. Never, ever been there. Chicago, huh? Yeah. All right, Carmine, that sounds beautiful. How much, was it crowded? How big is that place?
It was packed because it was a double billing with the band Styx and Chicago, which were very polarizing bands in my opinion. But it was packed. It was filled to the rafters.
You got to be careful with that Styx, that band Styx. That's the I'm Sailing Away song, right? Isn't that Styx?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know what Styx is, by the way? Styx is the river in hell.
Up.
It is. It's a river in hell, so you got to be very careful with that stuff. I hope they don't dabble in any of that occult. All right, buddy. I appreciate it very, very much, Carmine. Thank you for the good wishes, the good vibes. We'll see you later. It looks like... Wait a second. Let me just take a look at this. Hold on. Do I have to act blue? No, I thought I had some information here. Hey, an F-16 shot down a Russian MiG over the skies of Ukraine. An American-made F-16, a Viper, scored a kill of a Russian MiG. Those Ukrainian pilots, huh? We brought them here. They learned a few things. We gave them a few F-16s, and look at them now. It's interesting how there's like this, oh, my God, the Iran war. It's been going on forever. The other thing has been going on for freaking 4 years, for crying out loud, with no end in sight. All right, let's remember that. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?